So how do we decide which book is the best to read? I don't know about you, but when I was still going through more of the crisis phases of my PTSD, my ability to stay focused and have attention while I was reading, so I actually absorb and, the comprehension and the retention and memorizing of what I was reading was very limited. So I had to be very selective on what I choose to read. Not only that, I was also a university student, so I had to read a lot of stuff that I was not so interested in, but I had to pass the exams. And there's other videos where I share all the tips and practices that I use to help me memorize and study for university exam. But this is specifically on how we actually read books to help us with our healing journey. So number one is I always have one theme of the month, or I have one focus, one symptom that I'm working on. I've done this for my own healing journey, and I also do that for my online community, the Thriveroo Community, if you heard of that. So that's where we get together, there's a whole group of us working on our healing journey, so it's so much more fun doing that. But we also have one theme for each month. So last month was befriending yourself. This month is a sense of self. So I am choosing the book to read that goes with that topic. For example, the sense of self, the Janina Fisher's The Fragmented Sense of Self. Brilliant book on this topic, right? So I would choose something like this. Not a book that is very broad and open. For example, Pete Walker's book on complex PTSD is also good, but it's not that specific on that sense of self that I'm working on. So I'm very specific because this is the symptom that I'm working on that is most disruptive of my life in this moment. So there's some motivation or a stronger urgency or necessity there for me to actually learn. This helps me then to actually stay motivated and have the energy to read, and I remember more. So we need, if something is really boring, on the flip side, it is really hard to get through the first sentence in a paragraph, right? We all have read something like that, but we just can't keep reading. So we want to pick something, a topic that is of interest to us that we really want to work on. That's number one. Okay, one topic. So be very clear and specific on what that topic is. Number two is I have an intention. When I'm reading with the intention to find something that helps me shift my perception about myself, the world at large, other people, relationships, about a topic. So there's a shift in how I think about something. I'm looking at for that, and I'm looking at for practices and tools and strategies and things that I can implement. The key here. People always say knowledge is power. So part of it, right? Knowledge is only power when we implement, when we act on this. This is so key. I won't let myself move on to the next book without actually implementing or doing something about it. Right? And that does not mean that it has to be exactly the way it is in the book. But if there's a practice suggested, then I will try this out. And then I tweak it. I'm going to be creative and playful and have fun with it and make it my own. Because this is really key with any of our practices. If we want to rewire our brain, if we want to train our muscles to be able to focus better and have attention, or whether we're working on the sense of self or the triggers or emotional regulation, right? All it is, it's the daily practices, the day-by-day things that we do. And when we have a practice that has our likes and in there, what really resonates with us, if I make it my own, I'm more likely to actually practice this and stick to that. So that's key. And number three, what I always love is, that's why I have the Thriveroo Community, is we have a book club meeting there. So find some people who are also working on the same thing and are also interested in reading that book with you at the same time, so you can have conversations with that person about it. That helps you to deepen the learning. That helps you to stay motivated and on track with the reading as well, right? And it's just a beautiful kind of fun way to talk about it. That's in the Thriveroo Community and the book club meeting. We catch up on a similar app like Zoom. So we can have a video conference, we can talk about it, but we also have a read and reflect comment section where we can go back and forth and everyone can kind of share the little insights, their hearts, the nuggets that they got out of the book, or the practice that they're going to try. It is, when we're doing it with other people, it just becomes so much more fun. And for me, it's really about that deepening, that learning, to really make some shifts in my life, right? Have you read books and things like that and you felt like afterwards, not much actually has changed. My life's still the same. I'm still having triggers and flashbacks and, life sucks. It is usually because we haven't found something in a book that we can use and utilize in our day-to-day life to make a change. And so that is why it's very key to pick a book in the first place that is exactly on the topic that you are currently working on, right? Have the intention when you're reading, searching for those sections in the book where there is something that they share with that can help you, and then having people to talk about it really helps you deepen that learning. So these are just a few strategies that I use, and I totally get how difficult it is to actually being able to read a section. When I was going through university, there was many times where I started reading a paragraph and I couldn't get past the first sentence. And I didn't know what it was in the first sentence, and I had to go and reread, and it's so tiring and so frustrating. I get it. And it felt like I had a broken brain. Perhaps you feel the same. But I really want you to know that all it is, this is like a muscle, right? When we're in crisis, that muscle isn't functioning properly. It isn't firing the way we want it to fire. But with practice, we can learn to become more focused. We can train our brain to be more focused. We can train our brain to get better at comprehension and retention and memorizing and things like that. They're all skills. They're all skills that we can learn. Okay, I really want to highlight this because my brain has so improved on all the functions. I did put a lot of work in and I read a lot of books on that topic. I had this as my theme for many months over the years to really help me with the attention and the focus part. That was just really important to me to work on this. This was a symptom of mine that caused me a lot of frustration and also anxiety, right? So that was something that I really wanted to work on figuring out a way and trusting in myself that I will find a way to help myself to get better at that. I'm going to be really creative and I'm exploring and I'm allowing myself to experiment, and I know that not everything that I'm trying out is going to work for me, but I trust I'm going to go back. I tweak it, I change it, I read another book, I talk to people to find something that shifts enough and does something for me in my life to actually change. Okay, so I hope you find that useful, but I'm very intentional about all those things, and I'm also intentional about creating habits. Like I said, it is the daily activities that helps us rewire our brain. It's the daily habits that we have that help us shape who we are, or how we show up, and what we can do, strengthening all these kind of muscles. This is why habits and routines were very important to me, especially early on in my healing journey. And there is a whole video here on how I think about my morning routine and how I designed it, and I give you a lot of prompts and tips in there on how you can design your own very own morning routine that is really resonating with you and that you're gonna love and enjoy, because that is so important, right? We don't want this to be a chores list or a to-do list. We want to actually be able to enjoy that and have fun with that, and because to me, this is. Let me know in the comments how you think about this, but I don't want another chores list. I want to have some more fun in my life. I want to have some more playfulness. I want to have some more joy, some connection and love, and those are the things that I want to have more of in my life and want to create. And I want to be I am very intentional, strategic about how I'm actually creating that for myself. So hope you find this video useful, and as always, sending you lots and lots of love and rainbows to brighten up the tough times just a little. See ya!